When you look through the history of the men's basketball program at the University of Michigan, there's simply one period that you cannot miss. It is a period where there is no accolades or banners or really any records from this period, from this time period. It is a period of great success that ended with great disappointment. And that's not just coming from a win-loss standpoint, it's coming from the entire aspect of the athletes themselves and the human beings that they were. It proves that no matter how much talent you have, you still need that leadership and veteran presence on your team in order to be successful. That period, as I'm sure you all know by now, is a period known as the Fab Five era. The Fab Five were one of the most talented freshman classes in the history of college basketball. For that matter, they were one of the most talented teams in the history of college basketball. The 91 freshman class that went to Michigan is considered by many to be the most talented recruiting class to ever play college basketball. That class consisted of 2 Detroit natives named Jalen Rose and Chris Webber. It also consisted of a Chicago native named Juwan Howard and 2 Texas high school stars named Jimmy King and Ray Jackson. All 5 freshmen came in and expected to start their freshman year, but that, however, was not the case. They actually had to earn their way into starting positions. Jalen Rose, Juwan Howard, and Chris Webber started from the get-go because they were 3 of the best players to ever play at Michigan. But Ray Jackson and Jimmy King had to earn their way, and midway through their freshman year, all 5 freshmen were starting, which was for the first time in college basketball history, 5 freshmen started a game. As students, they were pioneers as they brought hip-hop flavor to the game with their trash talk, long baggy shorts, shaved heads, black shoes, and black socks. In fact, at one game, they wanted to conceal their black socks until tip-off, so they wore their sweatpants until the start of the game so that they hid their black socks before the game. Their controversial antics on and off the court earned them much media attention throughout their days at Michigan. In the Elite Eight, they faced Ohio State, which is a Big Ten team who they played during the regular season, and they lost twice by double digits to Ohio State during the regular season. However, in the Elite Eight, Michigan stepped up their game and they beat Ohio State, which was a back-and-forth game. They beat them in overtime. But all but 2 points, as you can see here, were scored by the Fab Five, which really showed how good the Fab Five actually were. Despite that talent, the Fab Five never actually won a championship game. They made it to the NCAA finals, both their freshman and sophomore years. In '92, they lost to Duke by 20 points, and they were just flat out outmatched by Duke, because Duke had a team of returning seniors. They'd won the national championship the year before. They beat Michigan during the regular season. They were a very good team that kicked Michigan's butt. In '93, they lost to the University of North Carolina by 6 points, which is a game that's mostly remembered for Chris Webber calling a very costly timeout, as he had no timeouts left, which will actually earn you a technical foul if you call timeout with no timeouts left. And it was at a very pivotal point in the game. Got Chris Webber a technical foul, gave North Carolina 2 free throws, and that eventually cost them the game as they lost by 6 points. Today, their legacy has been tarnished due to a University of Michigan basketball scandal that developed after they had left the university and actually forced the university to forfeit many of their accolades during this time period. It turned out that some of the players were receiving money from a man named Ed Martin, which is a clear violation of an NCAA rule known as improper benefits. Chris Webber got into the most trouble because he lied about his involvement with Chris Webber, and with the money thing, it can actually compromise their amateur athlete status, so you can't take money or receive money from anyone while you're an amateur athlete. Chris Webber's lying about his involvement with Ed cost him the most because he was banned from the campus of Michigan until 2013, so he was never allowed to be an announcer for a Michigan game or even come watch a Michigan game. The Fab Five may have not been the brightest off the court, but they were still some of the best basketball players to ever walk on planet Earth. All but Ray Jackson ended up playing in the NBA. Though an era tainted by scandal, the Fab Five changed the game of basketball with everything they did with the baggy shorts, the black socks. Today the game would not be the same if we hadn't had the Fab Five.